Test, test. Hello, my name is Carlos Redcourt. This is the picture frame solitary. These are the slides. This is a what went right and what went wrong. And this is the class, CSA 110, and the professor's not there. So what we have here is the 4x4 grid. So there's 16 spots in the grid that need to be filled up, and it needs to be filled up. The player draws a card from the top of the deck. They're able to interact with the buttons and place that on the grid. For the board to reset, set the grid, the 4x4 grid had to have all 16 spaces occupied. During the removal state, the cards that add up to 10 or a single card are removed and reinitiated so that the player can continue to play. So if the player draws a king, queen, or a jack, and the grid is full in those positions, so if the king is drawn and there are no spaces for the king, that's a lose. Same with the jack and the queen. To be able to run the suit, the rank, and the card in the deck all together, these had to be contained inside of a Java project so that each Java file would run within the Java project. Let's see. Improper syntax, missing semicolons, sensitivity issues. There were a few times when multiple memory methods inside of a single file, and what I should have done was within a larger project file, which is what I ended up doing. If I didn't have constructor units mismatch, so if I was working in the suit file, but I wanted to create lines of code for the rank, and it was in the suit, then that was wrong. Same with if I was working on a suit or rank or deck, but what I was wanting to work on was within the PF frame file or the button file, then that would create an error. These no space for the cards images, so it would load a green and I made it yellow because it was all green at first. The board. You'll see that if you play it, it's green and yellow, and it should not be. It should be showing the card images. And so, aside from that, a player could fail the game by running into what we had already talked about, where the face cards are not able to be played. So I'd already gone over these, the interface, the games and the rules, logic. These are things that I was attempting to add, but I think I'll add those later. I know that in the example game there were sound indicators. There's audio cues and feedback. You would click the buttons and it would bing, buzz, make a noise, and it would even flash. You would click the card and it would flash. I was unable to do that. I'm not gonna say that I failed here. I'm not gonna say that I'm not able to do it. I'm not able to do these things yet, but I'm still working on figuring that out. So that, like I said, this image is not loading here, and I was having syntax and path issues, and it was just invisible. It was not popping up like the example was popping up, but within the resize image button, that was definitely popping up. Um, so I made these states. Can we go back there? So this swing card image feature integration was the we already talked about that. Let me just go over this. Okay. Oh, okay. So it was important to have a main driver so that they can run the code, and if not, the tests would fail. There would be no good debugging, to my knowledge, and it just was not working properly. So each of these had to have a driver, the files.
And so from that, I learned that the best thing to do is to first, you gotta, how do they say, prior planning prevents piss poor performance. So I had to carefully make a good plan here, understand the game mechanics, and then test and improve them. I don't know why that font looks different. But the main thing was keeping a detailed record of what went right, what went wrong, what each code block does, and making them blocks because a lot of that was very long and it was very uh, complex to grasp the concepts there. But the most important thing was, even with mistakes and even with some failures, it was good to document those for myself and any future programmer that wanted to look at, make edits, updates, project scaling. So if they want to expand on these ideas, um, not just here locally, but